So, Extradimensional Crisis, the new set released Pokemon TCG Pocket. We are going to be reviewing this entire set here. I'm going to be doing things a little bit differently than other Pokemon TCG Pocket content creators. I'm not going to be reviewing every single card. I'm going to be reviewing the cards that I feel like are the most important in the set with my initial thoughts, and we're going to be ranking each typing, kind of taking inspiration from a different fight, if you know that content creator. So for example, like grass typing, I'll give it a ranking out of 5. So let's get started with that. Now, these two cards here are pack filler. We're not going to talk about them. We're going to be talking about, first off, the new Decidueye line, because this new Decidueye line is really good. Now, the Rowlet, we do not care about the Rowlet. You're going to use the Rowlet from the previous set. What matters is the Dartrix and the Decidueye. I'm going to be opening up these two tabs here. So let's talk about the Dartrix first. Now, unlike the previous Dartrix, it has a new skill, a new attack called Skill Dive. So for 1 grass energy, this attack does 20 damage to one of your opponent's Pokemon, which is really good because the previous Dartrix was just 1 grass energy for 30 damage. It wasn't really that good. You only really ran it in your deck for consistency's sake, because when you're running rare candy decks, you kind of want to run a 2-1-2 split. 2 of your basic Pokemon, 1 of your stage 1 Pokemon, and then 2 of your stage 2 Pokemon, or you just run 2 basic and 2 stage 2s if you're really feeling like gambling. But for consistency's sake, you want to a lot of times run the 1 stage 1. This is really good card, honestly. Just, it really helped set up your Decidueye or your Decidueye EX, and just the attack's really good as well, because then you can just ping your opponent's bench and then set up for a Cyrus. And then there's also other grass cards that we'll be talking about later in this set that really blend well with this Dartrix and just the Decidueye kind of archetype in general, where I feel like you don't really need to kind of run Meowscarada anymore. I feel like there's going to be a lot of Decidueye decks that just move away from running Meowscarada in it, and I feel like you're not going to really suffer too much on consistency because you have 2 Decidueyes you can run in your deck, which I'm going to be talking about right now. Here we have the new Decidueye, which is a 1.7 Decidueye EX. So what I think Decidueye decks are going to end up doing is running 2 of Decidueye EX and then 1 copy of this regular Decidueye. So now you're running 3 Decidueyes in your deck, so you have a better chance of getting that rare candy out very early on and going into your Decidueye, whether it be Decidueye or Decidueye EX. So now, this new Decidueye here, for 2 grass energy, sniping arrow, this attack does 70 damage to one of your opponent's Pokemon, so very similar to Decidueye EX. Really good card. 70 damage is great. 2 energy, just start sniping, bench, or just attacking for 70. But a lot of times I feel like it's nice to hit the bench, start putting damage, start putting pressure on those really annoying Giratinas. We saw just how strong these types of abilities are in the last set with Tapu Lele, and this card's great. There's nothing really much else to say. I think it's going to be really impactful for Decidueye decks. Now, before I talk about Buzzwole, I want to talk about these 2 cards, Pheromosa and Kartana. Pheromosa is nuts. You're going to be hearing me say that a lot about cards in this set. This set, honestly, just the grass typing specifically. If you like grass decks and you're someone who really mains a lot of grass decks, you love Decidueye or you love Meowscarada, you are eating. Or the new Buzzwole, you're eating. You're just eating if you play grass decks, because grass decks got absolutely glazed. Like, the honey was getting poured on them in this set. So for Pheromosa here, basic Ultra Beast Pokemon, 70 hit points, has 1 for 1 grass energy, Jump Blues. This attack does 20 damage to one of your opponent's bench Pokemon. And it also is just doing 20 damage just from it. So if this is against Darkrai, because Darkrai Giratina decks, they want to have their Darkrai in their active zone with their Giratina on the bench. You're just hitting for 40 damage against their Darkrai because you have type advantage, and then you're also just doing 20 damage ping to their Giratina. So this card's nuts. This card is insane. And 70 HP is really good too, and it only has 1 retreat cost as well. This card is pretty nuts. Pretty insane card. This card is going to get, I feel like this card is a staple for grass decks. Honestly, I feel like out of every single grass card release in the set, I feel like this is going to be the most impactful one. Again, we saw how strong Tapu Lele was in the previous set. This card gives me very similar vibes to Tapu Lele. I think this card is going to be really annoying for people to play against. And again, just the way it can interact with Cyrus, the way it can interact with Decidueye. And again, just even with Buzzwole, which I'll be talking about later, just getting early damage on your opponent's bench Pokemon when the Buzzwole comes in, and it can do that 120 and then just kill that Pokemon and just one-shot it. Really strong card. Really strong card. Now, I don't think this card is as strong as Pheromosa, but I do think this card is strong. I don't think it's going to be played as much. I think it's going to depend on the meta, but even still. So we have this Kartana here, Ultra Beast Pokemon, 60 hit points for 1 energy, Thrash Metal, does 40 damage, retreat 1. Again, really strong. Really strong, just 40 damage. Again, Darkrai, Giratina, it's still probably going to be really meta, still used. It's probably going to be used one of the most used decks in ranked. I'm assuming that's probably what's going to happen. 60 damage. Insane. Insane card. Insane card. And the really strong thing about Kartana and Pheromosa with this set is that grass decks didn't really have Pokemon that were good for the early game. Because the biggest problem with grass decks in the last set was that your big attackers, which are your Meowscaradas and your Decidueye, you needed 2 energy on them. So you were kind of didn't have a lot of pressure in the early game. Now with Kartana and Pheromosa, you have these 1 energy Pokemon that you can start the game off with. And you can just immediately just start applying pressure. So your game plan is a lot faster now, and you're applying pressure very early on in the game. So I feel like just your pacing's better. So these 2 cards, just Kartana and Pheromosa, are absolutely insane buffs to the grass decks. Just absolutely insane. Now the last grass card we'll be talking about in this set is Buzzwole. The immersive art. The immersive art here is really nice. I saw the animation for the immersive card. I don't really like it too much. It just looks like PNG sliding. It looks like really cheap manga animation. I do manga animation sometimes, so that's why I'm making that reference. But yeah, it doesn't. I don't like it that much. I feel like there's, in terms of immersive card art animation, I feel like there's been better. Like Giratina, I think, is probably my favorite. But that's besides the point. Anyways, so this card was revealed early on, so I'm not going to really talk about it too much. Again, this card is just insane with Cresselia. It's going to be insane. Just big beat, 120 damage for 3 energy. Really good. This effect, again, means nothing because Cresselia, you're just going to... We'll get to Cresselia later, but it basically just makes this text not exist at all. So I think a Grass Ultra Beast deck focused on Buzzwole is going to be extremely toxic. I feel like people are going to be just absolutely just ragging on this card and getting really annoyed with it after like the first 2 weeks of ranked. And I'm honestly happy that this card exists because it can one-shot Darkrai, and Darkrai Giratina needs more counters. I don't think Darkrai Giratina is as strong as it was when it was first released, because in the previous set, there are a lot of other decks that can still compete with it, but it's still an annoying deck to play against, so, you know, I'm happy this exists. So, yeah, Buzzwole is goated. So, yeah, out of all these cards released for the grass typing, out of 5, I'm going to give the grass archetype 4.5 out of 5. These are the only 2 cards that are garbage, but everything else is just insane. Everything else is just insane. This just feels like a grass type DLC. That's what this set feels like, because these cards are nuts. I mean, the Rowlet's pretty useless, but like these additions are insane. Now, let's get to Fire. Only 1 Fire card released in this set, which is a bit weird, but you know what? You kind of expected me to kind of just be like, let's move on. This is nothing. But Blacephalon, I actually think is a pretty solid card. I actually think it's a pretty good addition to fire decks. It kind of serves a similar role to Turtonator in the last set. Although I feel like this card kind of replaces Turtonator because the biggest issue with Turtonator is the retreat cost, but Blacephalon only has 2 retreat costs. And a lot of times I felt like when I was playing ranked and I was running Tapu Lele decks, and I would fight someone that would be running like a Turtonator Charizard deck or a Turtonator Incineroar deck, I can just really abuse this Turtonator on the bench with its massive retreat cost with Cyrus and then Tapu Lele. And again, with a lot of decks now, because I think Decidueye decks, or just Buzzwole, and Pheromosa is going to see a lot of play. And plus there's another card we're going to get to later. Just pinging your opponent's bench or like Cyrus types abilities or Sabrina's are going to be more prevalent than ever, I feel. So having a Pokemon that has an insane retreat cost and you kind of can't play around that, I don't think is as good. So I think Blacephalon is just going to be a better Turtonator. It's going to replace Turtonator. There's kind of like pros and cons of running either or of these Pokemon, but I do think Blacephalon is going to end up being better because the thing that Blacephalon has, even though its attack is doing 70 damage to itself, is dealing 130. And then with the supporter card Lusamine, you don't have to end your turn, unlike when you're using the Kiawe with Turtonator. That was the biggest problem with Kiawe, is that sometimes you would have your Turtonator in your late game, and like worst case scenario, then you use your Kiawe to get ready your Turtonator to attack, but then you end your turn and you kind of like screw yourself over. With Lusamine, you don't have to end your turn. You just get your 2 energy, and then you slap 1 more energy on it, and your Blacephalon can attack. And I feel like what a lot of time is going to happen with these fire decks is you're going to run your stage 2 Pokemon, which is your Charizard or your Incineroar, which are like pretty much the only fire decks that you can kind of play right now. And worst case scenario, they die, and your opponent just needs 1 more point to win. You bring out your Blacephalon, you use Lusamine, and then you clear up whatever is in the active zone, and then you get your win to kind of like late game cleanup. It's Blacephalon's kind of there as kind of like your worst case scenario. You need to kind of like end the game card. So I really do feel like that's kind of like the game plan going forward with fire decks, but we'll see how it plays out. But I don't think the 70 damage to itself is going to be as big as an issue as people think. I actually think this card is actually going to be pretty solid. So we'll see. I might be wrong on that. I might be fraudulent. I might be a take that ages horribly. But my initial impression is I think like Blacephalon is actually going to be pretty solid. It's going to be just a card that like replaces Turtonator. So yeah, Blacephalon, pretty solid card. So I'm going to say for the fire typing out of 5, I'm going to give it a 2 out of 5. 2 just because Blacephalon I feel like is going to end up being pretty solid, but nothing higher just because there's only 1 fire support card in this set. Now, water got absolutely screwed over, and I think the biggest problem with water typing right now is because of Misty's existence. Water Pokemon just have to be nerfed because the devs have to be worried about how strong Misty is, and it's just really unfortunate. Like, the only really card to talk about is Sharpedo, and Sharpedo is pack filler. Like, all of these Pokemon here are pack filler, so we're gonna move on, and I'm gonna give the water typing a fat 0 out of 10, a big fat 0, a big fat nasty 0. Yeah, water typing is getting that fat 0. Very disappointed. There's nothing there. So yeah, if you wanted to improve your water deck, there's nothing here. Honestly, I think unless they nerf Misty, I feel like this is going to be a continuing trend with water decks, because after Gyarados, I think the devs learned that, like, yeah, we kind of, they're really limited on what they can do with water Pokemon because of Misty. If they put a strong effect on a water Pokemon, then you get Gyarados foolishness, and Gyarados was terrorism. But anyways, yeah, so water, 0 out of 10. Now, electric. I am so hyped with the electric support in this set. There's some pack filler, like these cards here are straight pack filler. We do not care about them. But the Luxray, the new Luxray line is actually pretty cool. Let's talk about Luxray here. I don't think this card is actually pretty solid. I don't know if it's going to see play. The biggest problem is that it has Electric Ball for 3 energies, like it's 3 energy for 90. 3 energy is not the greatest for stage 2. You kind of want something that's only like 2 energy max, or if it's gonna be higher than 2, then it kind of like has a way to get its own energy, kind of like Charizard EX. But you know, there's a lot of electric support in this set that are like energy generator cards. So I don't know if this isn't going to be too much of an issue. Plus, you also have the supporter card for Luxray, so there is also that as well. So it might not be too bad, but I just feel that like the previous Luxray from the previous set is kind of just better, because like Volkner is just Volkner plus this, and then you can just do 120 damage to anything. I feel like it's just going to be better than what this is doing. Basically, it's like as long as this Pokemon is in the active spot, attacks used by your opponent's active Pokemon do minus 20 damage. Might be interesting, but I don't really think it's going to do too much. Like, I think the previous Luxray is better. The free retreat is really good. And then again, its attack is really good, plus Volkner is going to be really nice. I think with some of the other electric support cards in this set, you might be able to build a pretty solid Luxray deck, I feel. Yeah, I think there might be some cool Luxray decks. I don't think it's going to be anything that's like game-breaking meta, but I think it'll be like a solid tier 2 deck. So, yeah. This card might see some play. But now as I'm talking about it now, this might also be pack filler too. Really, what it is a card I'll be talking about later when we get to Pokemon tools. But it's really this Tapu Koko and the Zerawa. These are the 2 lightning Pokemon that are really nice. I don't even know how to pronounce this thing's name. I don't even think this thing's gonna be good. We're not talking about it. But yeah, let's talk about Tapu Koko EX. Basic Pokemon, 130 hit points, Plasma Hurricane, first attack for 1 energy. You do 20 damage, and then you take lightning energy from your energy zone and attach it to this Pokemon. I think that's pretty nice. And then Match Bolt for 3 energy, do 90. Going second. On your next turn after that, you're hitting for 90. Kind of the suck does have low HP, and it doesn't have the highest HP at 130. But I think this is a pretty solid card for some early game aggression. And I think that's kind of gonna be the thing going forward with electric decks. You're kind of gonna want to just be like a really fast-paced, not that high HP deck, and you're just kind of trying to end the game as quickly as possible, because again, I guess that's the gimmick, you know, the lightning decks. Also, the rainbow art for Tapu Koko EX is really nice. Honestly though, I think the best electric card in this set though is the Zerawa. This card, when it was first revealed, I saw people downplaying it, and I feel like people are going to continue downplaying it, but then like after the first week, they're going to realize this card is good. I hope I am right on that, because I feel like a lot of times I feel like we haven't learned from Giratina, and we're just these cards that like generate energy are just downplayed. This card is its ability. The biggest I'm going all over the place. The biggest draw of this card is its ability, Thunderclap Flash, which at the end of your first turn, take an electric energy from your energy zone and attach it to this Pokemon. Now, yes, it's only first turn, but the high roll potential to start with this Pokemon, turn 1, you're going first, is really good, especially when a lot of decks don't like going first. I don't even think this card is bad going second either, because then you immediately on your next turn you have something this thing going for 50. But the chance of you high rolling and getting this card as your starting Pokemon, especially when you can kind of control the percentage of that happening depending on how many basic Pokemon you run in your deck, I feel that starting with this Pokemon going first, getting that turn 1 energy on this thing, and then on the next turn slap another energy on, and you're using that Lightning Claw for 50 damage is going to be really impactful. I feel like people aren't realizing that. I think this card is going to be really good, And even if you don't get it as your starting Pokemon, still 2 energy for 50 is pretty nice as well. So I think just the high roll potential of this card is going to really surprise people. And just the fact that you have that option where you can start with this Pokemon, turn 1, and just immediately start applying pressure is really strong. And I think this card also really matches nicely with a Pokemon tool that we'll be talking about later on in this set. And if you have that insane RNG and you start with both the Zeraora and that Pokemon tool in your hand that we'll be talking about later, you get even more value. So I think this card is really good. Like, out of all the electric Pokemon in this set, I think this is the best one, Zeraora. So I see a lot of potential for this card. But yeah, it's really Tapu Koko and Zeraora, so really nice electric support in this set. But because it's only these 2 cards and there's nothing really else, I'm just gonna give the electro typing 3 out of 10. I think 3 out of 5. 3 out of 5. I'm gonna give them a 3 out of 5. I think 3 out of 5 is respectable for what electric decks got in this set. Now let's go into Psychic. All of these Pokemon, there's nothing to talk about aside from this boy here. I think it's pretty interesting Pokemon ability. Like, once per turn you can put a random Pokemon for your deck into your hand. Kind of is unfortunate that it's a stage 1 though, so maybe it'll see some splash in some decks. I feel like it might, but the also the thing too is, like, you have to run kind of like, it takes up 4 slots in your deck and you can just run Pokeball. So there's that. So honestly, I'm gonna give, I don't think this is gonna be as impactful as Bliss Alpha 1. So honestly, I'm going to give Psychic decks a 1 out of 10. Psychic typings get a 1. I keep it 1 out of 10. Psychic types are gonna get a 1 out of 5 for this set. That's the rating I'm gonna give them, because yeah, it's everything else is just pack filler. This is the only card really worthy talking about. Not even think it's really that crazy. It might see some play in like later sets, but as of right now, I think initially, first impressions, I don't think this card is that crazy. But we'll see. Maybe I'll eat my words, but right now I'm gonna give Psychic typing 1 out of 5 for this set. But they already got insane support last set with Tapu Lele, so I feel like it's justified. Now, fighting. Medicham, I don't think this card's gonna see play. Claydol and the new Lycanroc EX and the Passimian are the cards that I'll talk about the most. Those are really the only fighting Pokemon in this set that are really worth talking about. Now, if you have another one of this dude on the bench, this attack does 40 more damage, let's throw for 2 energy. I think it's okay. Pretty solid. Might be some goofy decks made out of this. 2 energy for 80 is insane though, but like, it has this stipulation around it. But honestly, I think it's like pretty solid card. Lycanroc EX, I think just for the Lycanroc decks, it's just going to be a finisher that just splashed into the deck. So honestly, that deck is pretty solid in general. So we'll see how it plays out. So I think it's pretty cool. Like, 3 energy is kind of steep. In fact, you have to discard the fighting energy from this Pokemon. It's kind of but it's dealing 130, so it's a lot of damage, and 150 HP is good. So that's nice. But honestly, I think it's a good card. Good buff for the Lycanroc decks. It can be searched with the Rock Ruff from the previous set, so it has that consistency on it as well. I think that this card is just going to be a nice addition to those decks, and it's a pretty good splashable card in those decks, so nice buff. But I don't think it's anything too crazy. The Claydol's cool. It has the heal block ability of Pokemon board theories, and your opponent can't be healed, so we have a meta where there's like a lot of abuse and healing, then this card might be good. I feel like this card might end up seeing some play in this meta, because healing is very impactful in this game, especially with, I feel like there's going to be a lot of poison running around. I feel like there's going to be a lot of poison around this set. We'll get into that later. So I feel like this card might end up seeing some play, but I can't really judge it right now. I think this card is really dependent on what the meta is. So honestly, for fighting, I'm gonna give the fighting type for this set, I'm gonna give them like a 2.5. I don't think it's as interesting as the electric support. I don't think it's gonna impact the game as much. So I'm just gonna give it a 2.5. 2.5. Now we get to darkness. The dark type. The Alolan, Meowth, Persian, no one cares about that. No one cares about Crocodile. That card's bait. That card's not going to see play, I feel. Now, the Nihilego, or however you pronounce that. I know I'm going to pronounce that horribly. But that card, now that card, this card right here. Now, it's also cool that this is a crown. Let's look at the crown. Now, this card here. Ultra Beast Pokemon, basic, 70 hit points. And then the ability, more poison. Your opponent's active Pokemon takes 10 more damage from being poisoned. I am already seeing deck lists on Twitter of this card combined with Darkrai and Giratina. And with Poison Barb. And it's nasty. It's so nasty in concept. And I actually think it's going to be viable. I genuinely think it's going to be viable. Yeah. And the fact that this has one retreat cost is great. So like, God forbid this gets into active zone, you can immediately get it out of there. Since it has low retreat cost, I think this card is going to be really disgusting with Darkrai. Like, I genuinely think this card is going to be extremely annoying. Extremely annoying. Just the fact that you can have this thing there and then have a Poison Barb on your active Pokemon and just be a better Rocky Helmet in that scenario, because your opponent just will not want to attack, because that means at the end of every turn they're getting hit for 20 extra damage. So it's just like, in total, it's like 40 extra damage across those 2 turns. It's nasty. It's actually disgusting. This card, I am holding it in high praise. I think this card is going to be really, really stupid. Really stupid. Like this right here is so dumb. This is so stupid. So stupid. So stupid. I really am expecting this card to be really annoying. Really annoying. Really, really, really annoying. On the topic of poison, we'll talk about Piopol. I think that's how it's pronounced. Flip 2 coins, attack does 20 damage for each heads. Good. And then this card here. 40 damage for 1 darkness energy, and your opponent's active Pokemon is now poisoned. I think there will be a deck with this. I genuinely think there will be a deck with this. Again, with this card here, 40 damage then just becomes 60 in that turn. And then again, they're getting hit for 20. And then if you have Poison Barb, more ping damage. So we maybe Arceus ends up seeing even more play. It saw some play in the last meta, but maybe it sees even more play now that I think poison decks are going to be a real thing. That's how I feel. So this is an interesting card here. Again, very, very fast Pokemon, since it's only 1 energy for 40, and it immediately is getting you with that poison. So I think poison decks are real. I think poison decks are going to be a thing. But I think, again, the main draw for this card is it in combination with Darkrai and Giratina, and just adding Poison Barb. I genuinely think that's going to be... I think that might be the way to go with Darkrai Giratina decks, but we'll see in a week. But yeah, this seems nasty. We'll see. Because you might also have an argument of like consistency issues, but I think you can just splash 1 copy of this thing in the deck, and I think it won't really affect the consistency of Darkrai Giratina decks too much. So yeah, I'm scared of this card. Next, Guzzlord. This card too is another card I'm scared of. Look at the rainbow art of it. Really nice card art. But yeah, Guzzlord, card revealed early. Again, the retreat cost is huge, kind of a bit of an iffy thing. And it kind of does suck that Tyrannical Hole, insane name for an attack, is 4 energy, so that's kind of it. But the big thing, and for this card, and I think this card is actually going to end up being splashed in a lot of decks, and not just be just for dark decks in general, is this Grindcore attack. That for 2 energy, 2 colorless energy, 30 damage, flip a coin until you get tails, and for each head, it's got a random energy from your opponent's active Pokemon. Now, let me pull up sets, because there is a card from the previous set that I'm already cooking up in my head. Because I pulled this card from a what's it called? Why am I forgetting this? The thing when you go to get your when you can do a pull from one of your opponents, a rare pick from one of your opponent's cards. Rare pick, that's what it's called. I was like, why am I forgetting the name of it? But I pulled a Guzzlord from a rare pick, so I'm gonna be cooking with this. Oranguru with Guzzlord, and then you have Team Rocket's Grunt in your deck. And then you just splash in a Tapu Lele. I'm going to try cooking with that because I think that's going to be an actual thing. Because this card just feels like a better version of this right here. I feel like this is more toxic. Yeah, so I'm kind of scared of this card because I feel like it's going to be really toxic. But I don't think this card, though, is going to be as broken as people are expecting it to be. I kind of feel that way. But I mean, maybe I'm just saying that's a cope, but this ability scares me. Because this can get out of hand really quickly. So yeah, Guzzlord, Oranguru, and then Team Rocket's Grunts. So people watching this, get to cooking with that. I'm definitely going to get to cooking with that after I'm done recording this. Yeah, that sounds pretty nasty. Yeah, I just think this card is going to be splashing a lot of decks because it's a really good attack for 2 energy. Again, 30 is not a lot, but just this right here, just slowing down your opponent, especially like opposing Giratina, and then you'll have like a type advantage too, so it's going to actually be hitting for 50 damage on their opponent's Giratina. And then if like it's a Giratina deck that's not their main energy isn't Psychic, then that will really set them back. So this is a really nice counter to Darkrai Giratina decks. But maybe Darkrai Giratina decks splash this card in as well. So we'll see. We'll see what happens. But this is a really nice card in this set. So really great card. But yeah, I'm going to be cooking with these two. I have some ideas. I really want to like. It will feel so good when I fight a Charizard deck, and I slap this card down, and I just like flip 3 heads, and then like they have to use their Stoke again, and then they put more energy on their Pokemon, and then I use Tapu Lele. Like that's what's cooking in my head. This card with Tapu Lele just sounds really spicy, Yeah, Guzzlord, great card. So for the Dark typing, I am going to give it a 4 out of 10. I mean, sorry, 4 out of 5. I keep doing it. 4 out of 5. I'm going to be giving them a 4 out of 5. Honestly, yeah, give them 4 out of 5. I'm not giving them a 4.5 just because I feel like these grass cards are a little bit better, but the dark cards are just right there, so I'm gonna give it a 4 out of 5. Now, let's talk about Steel. I'm gonna make this very quick because I don't want this video to go on for a long time. But Steel Pokemon in this set, like they gotta take the L. A Alolan Duck Trio, I like it's cool, I guess, but like I don't think this thing is gonna really see play. Like, I mean, like it's cool, like two energy, flip 3 coins, 60 damage for each heads. I guess I'm troll. Actually, you know what? Maybe there might be some trolley decks with this. Because you can high roll this and hit your opponent for 180 and it can be really bad. Flip 2 heads, 120. I feel like that's gonna happen more times than not. So honestly, you know what? Maybe. I'll let this cook. This is the only really thing that's kind of interesting. And these other cards are just they're buns. They're buns. No one cares about this. This card sucks. This card I don't think is going to be something that you run alongside Solgaleo. Actually, you know what? Maybe this card is like the thing you run alongside Solgaleo. Although you really kind of want that Skarmory for that early pressure. But honestly, we'll see. Maybe we'll see. Because honestly, like a lot of times in the Solgaleo decks, you run your Skarmory and then afterwards the Solgaleo, and that's how you're doing your prize journey. So it's not really a big deal if like your secondary Pokemon alongside Solgaleo, like Solgaleo's partner is a 2 prize. I don't think it's that big of a deal, especially if like it's something like this where you can high roll like that. So we'll see. Although I feel like this alongside Solgaleo with like 2 energy might not mesh as well, but we'll see. I think Solgaleo is a deck that really wants its partner to be a one energy attack Pokemon. So we'll see. Also, although the Alolan Diglett can do 40 damage, you have to flip a coin, but the potential 1 energy for 40 is pretty solid as well. So we'll see. But for the entire Steel Pokemon, for Steel typing in this set, I'm just gonna give it I'll give it a 2.5. 2.5 out of 5. Might be potential with this, but otherwise everything else here is just garbage. Now, colorless. Put some claps up. People have been talking about this guy, Beware. I don't see the vision with this. Like this seems like a YouTube content card. This guy here. This, honestly, again, Oranguru that I talked about earlier. Maybe, you know what? Oh, this card needs to be in the active spot. Okay, never mind. We don't like this. I'm not interested in this. This pack filler. Type null and then Silvally. It can be searched with the supporter card. I'll just bring it up now. The Gladion can be searched. Both the basic and the stage 1 can be searched with this card, so that's good with consistency. And it's only 2 colorless energy. If you play a support card from your hand this turn, this card is 50 more damage, 100 damage. Really nice HP. Type null, flip a coin. If heads, its attack does 20 more damage, and it has 1 colorless energy, 80 HP. I'm already seeing tweets online with people just slapping this in a Rampardos deck, and you have something like that. So I think these 2 cards will have a home. Well, 3 cards, because you don't want to be ran together. But I think these guys will have a home. I think they'll have a home. So I think they're good additions. Then one of the best cards in this set. Honestly, if we're talking about cards, I think I got this card like top 5, because this card makes Ultra Beast good, really. Like if this card didn't exist, I wouldn't be as high on the Ultra Beast archetype. Celesteela, if you didn't know, got revealed early on. Ultra Thrusters. Once during your turn, you may switch your active Ultra Beast with one of your benched Ultra Beasts. So that is why the Big Beat stipulation of you can't use Big Beat next turn doesn't matter, because you have Celesteela. Basically just makes it so that you have free retreats, and then if you also run other cards in your deck like Leaf and then X-Speed, you can do 2 retreats in a turn, which is something you can't really normally do. So yeah, great card. Being able to move around your active Pokemon with your bench Pokemon, really good. This card really does see the most play with Buzzwole, because these 2 Ultra Beast Pokemon are really nice partners with Buzzwole. So yeah, Formosa, Buzzwole, and Celesteela are going to be really disgusting together. It's going to be really nasty. So yeah, nothing really too much else to say about this card. This card's great. Worst case scenario, like you just have to start with this Pokemon. His attack's not even that bad. But again, you can just use its ability and then get it on the bench. So, yeah. Might suck if you start with this Pokemon because then it might be Cyrus food, but even still, this card's insane. This card's absolutely nuts, and its 1-star art is beautiful, absolutely beautiful. I hope I can pull it myself. Yeah, this card. Honestly, I'm just rating this card specifically itself. I'm giving this card like a 10 out of 10. It's like perfect. Genuinely, like, honestly, it might be like my favorite card in this set. This card is insane. This card makes, and this card is the make or break card for Ultra Beast. Like, if you're running an Ultra Beast deck, you have to run this card. This card makes them good. This card is the bread and butter for Ultra Beast. It's like the crux. Like, this card's insane. It's nuts. Yeah, when I first saw it, I already knew. I was like, yeah, this card's insane. So yeah, for colorless, I'm gonna, just from this card alone, this card's doing the heavy lifting, I'm gonna give colorless like I want to say 4. I want to say 4 to 5, just because Celesteela is so insane, and Type Null and Silvally are pretty solid too, but then like everything else isn't really that good. But because Celesteela is so cracked, I'm gonna, 4 and 5. 4 and 5. This card's nuts. This card's insane. This card's absolutely nuts. Now let's get on to the trainers, trainer cards, and then we'll be done. Then we'll be done with this video. All right. Now trainer cards in this set are really good. Really good. There are some stinkers. We'll talk about the stinkers first, and then we'll talk about the good ones. Now stinkers. Well, I said stinkers, but only really one stinker. We talked about Gladion already. Gladion solid. Looker is buns. This card is not good. One, if you're playing in tournaments, it's open deck list, so this card is useless. And then in ranked, sometimes there are moments where someone's running a really weird support or tech card in their deck that catches you off guard. But a lot of times, the average person just goes online, finds a deck list on Twitter, they net deck it, and people just copy and paste the deck, and you can kind of get a gauge of like what cards most decks are running, because deck lists don't really change too much, because again, it's a 20 card game. If decks had more cards in them, like if this was a 30 card game or a 40 card game, I could see more value in this card in ranked. But also just it would be better if this card was like, show all the trainers in your deck, in your opponent's deck, instead of just supporters. And also, the sucks is this card is supported too. If this card was just if this card was just an item, this would be way better. The fact that this card is a supporter, it just shoots it in the foot, because you can only play one supporter during your turn, so you're sacrificing your one supporter for the turn for value that's not really all that. So yeah, this card is horrible. This card's buns, bait. Don't put it in your deck. Now Lucamine, fantastic card, one of the best cards in this set. Again, I rate this card like Celesteela. This card is again what makes Ultra Beasts, all the Ultra Beasts, insane. Alongside this card is absolutely nuts. Like, just because your opponent has to have at least gotten 1 point, really not big. It's not really that big of a deal. Like, 2 random energy from your discard pile to that Pokemon is insane, and it doesn't even have to be the active Pokemon. That's the part that is really actually so cracked about this thing. It's not even active. You can put it on your bench. You can start setting up your bench. Like when I reread this card, I was like, wait, I don't have to put this on my active. I can put it anywhere. I can put any Ultra Beast. This card's nuts. This card's actually insane. Like, this card is going to win you so many games. So many games. There's this card, like, when I first read it, like, I already knew this card was insane. But I'm still in awe. Nuts card. There's not really much to talk about. It just sets up your finishers. It's insane. It's nuts. Beast type. Tool is again Ultra Beast support. They really did a good job supporting Ultra Beast in this set. Like, they really wanted to make sure, like, right out of this set, you can build an Ultra Beast deck and you can do pretty good in ranked for the month. Attacks used by Ultra Beast. This card attached to do plus 10 damage to your opponent's active Pokemon for each point you have gotten. I really like that they're taking from the TCG, because I heard in the TCG that Ultra Beasts are, their whole gimmick is that it's in relation to how many points your opponent have gotten, or like prize points your opponent have gotten. So I really like this, that this card is taking homage to that. So yeah, this can either do 10 damage or 20. So it's basically like a better red for Ultra Beast decks. So yeah, this card I think I'll see play in Ultra Beast decks. Again, just helps you reach those thresholds. Like if you have this card on your Buzzwole and your opponent has 2 points, you're fighting a Darkrai Giratina deck and they got a cape on, you just need that extra damage to win. Here's this card here. So this card, really good card. It's not really too much else to say. Now, Electrical Cord, I love this card. Honestly, between this and Celesteela, I don't know about like favorite. I did say Celesteela was my favorite card in the set earlier, but like now I'm remembering about Electrical Cord. I love this card as well. Honestly, those two are probably like no, that and Zero are probably like the top 3 of my favorite cards, like just design wise in the set. So what this Pokemon tool does is if your electric Pokemon this card is attached to is in the active spot and is knocked out by damage from an attack from your opponent's Pokemon, move 2 electric energy from that Pokemon and attach 1 energy each to 2 of your bench Pokemon. This card is great because it just gives value to your Pokemon that gets knocked out, and because electric Pokemon are, a lot of them have low HP, it's going to be happening pretty often, and that's the whole gimmick with electric decks, is that low HP Pokemon that are very quick do a lot of damage, and you want to like spread out energy. So yeah, I really do like this card. I think it's gonna be nice to we might see Pikachu EX from Shining Revelry make a comeback with this card. And yeah, this card just in combination with Zero, I'll pull it up again. These 2 cards together, if you go first and you have both these cards in your hand, you are winning. You are winning so hard. Because even if they have a Guzma, they have to use their Guzma to get rid of it. There's a card out of their hand. And it wouldn't really matter anyways because you're going to hit them for 50. Because like I've already seen people just be like, oh, Guzma exists, so who cares about this card? That is such a bad faith argument, because then we have to say that Giant Cape's bad. We have to start saying that Rocky Helmet's bad. We have to start saying that Poison Barb's bad. We have to start saying that every tool is bad. So no, this is great. This is a great card. This card is fantastic. Fantastic. Plus 1 energy to 2 of your bench Pokemon. Just great. Great card. Great card. Great card. Great card. Great card. Like, there's not really too much else to say. Really good energy distribution. Just, we've seen the impact of Giratina. Cards that can help your energy management, especially when energy is so impactful in this game. Cards like this are really good, really strong. So this card is honestly a staple, I feel, in every electric deck. This card is an instant 2 of. This right here is a card that I believe is going to see usage in electric decks for like the next 3 to 4 months. Like it immediately screams staple. And if I am wrong on that, then I don't know. I'm a fraud. I'm a genuine fraud if this card's wrong. I don't know how to read cards. I don't know how to read cards if this card ends up being bad. Again, it kind of also is dependent on like electric Pokemon need to be good, but this card in and of itself is in a vacuum. It's really insane. So yeah, this card was Zero. Like I said earlier, nuts. You get these 2 together, and like what, like 2 card. When I'm playing fire decks, it really feels nice when I go first, and I get the Kiawe, and I put on my Turtonator turn 1, and I feel great. That's the type of feeling you will get with these 2 together, these 2 cards together, if you're going first. And cards that benefit you from going first are very welcome in this game. When this game, Pokemon TCG Pocket, is a go second game. You gain way more value going second than going first. So cards that reward you for going first, I feel need to be praised. So these 2 cards, what the props for that. Put the claps up for them. Electrical Cord, great card. Now Repel. Ooh, Repel. Repel is great. Repel is an item. Switch out your opponent's active basic Pokemon to the bench. Your opponent chooses the new active Pokemon. This card is nuts. Just because it's an item, then you use this card as your item, and then you also then have your opportunity to still use a supporter card. A lot of decks run a lot of basic Pokemon. A lot of really strong Pokemon are basics, so it's kind of not the biggest deal that it is focused entirely on basics, unlike Sabrina, which is anything. So again, it will be dependent on the meta, but this card will see a lot of play, I feel like, because again, you're not losing your one supporter for the turn like normally you would, but use Sabrina, you can just use Repel, and then you can always use the other card you want to use, because sometimes like in scenarios it kind of sucks that like early game, sometimes early game your opponent's really getting set up with an opponent with their active Pokemon, and you kind of want to use a Sabrina defensively to kind of like slow down your opponent. But at the same time, you also have a Professor's Research in your hand that you want to use to kind of like dig through your deck to get cards that you need. So you kind of have to make that choice. But now with this, you can use your Repel and then use your Professor's Research, or go into Professor's Research and then top deck your Repel. So this card, I feel, is going to be seeing a lot of play. It adds a lot more flexibility for deck building. Really great card. Honestly, I feel like some decks might even just run a 1-1-3 split of one Cyrus, one Sabrina, one Repel. So really great card. A fantastic addition to the game. So yeah, I have very high praise for this card. Last trainer card of this set, Beast Wall. You can only use this card if your opponent hasn't gotten any points. During your opponent's next turn, all of your Ultra Beasts take minus 20 damage from attacks from your opponent's Pokemon. I don't think this card's that good because blue doesn't really get used much anymore. Ananon doesn't really get used much anymore. The biggest problem is it's from attacks, and especially with poison, I feel like poison decks are going to be a thing in this meta, and just the fact that like Darkrai is still a thing. There's the other cards that exist. There's a lot of ways to deal damage outside of just attacking. So this card I think is not going to really see too much use. I don't think this card is really that good. I don't think it deserves space in a deck. So yeah, it's kind of a stinker alongside Looker. If this card was like 20 damage from like anything, would have been way greater. But maybe that might be too much. But I feel like his game needs more defensive options. So honestly, I don't even think it would be that bad. Maybe you just nerf it and then like you make it minus 10. But yeah, honestly, I don't think this card's that good. So that card alongside Looker is kind of like the stinkers of this set. Overall for trainer cards, I'm giving trainer cards a 4.5 out of 5 because Lusamine, Repel, Electrical Cord, and Beastite are nuts. So yeah, 4.5. 4.5 out of 5. Or maybe you could argue 5 out of 5 just because these 4 cards right here are like meta-defining cards, I feel. So, you know what? I could give it a 5 out of 5 or a 4.5. Could argue about that in the comments, not that deep. But yeah. And then we'll just look at all the other artworks. Really nice card arts in this set. Shinies are cool. The only shiny I care about is the shiny Greninja. If I can pull this shiny Greninja line, I will be really happy. Shiny Jinx is cool, but the shiny Greninja, I want 2 copies of this for sure. This is the only shiny card I care about pulling this set. This card's art is insane. It's really beautiful. So yeah, if I can pull the Greninja shiny line and get like at least 2 of the shiny Greninja, I'll be happy because Greninja is still a card that is meta relevant. So I will actually be seeing it used in ranked if I have it, and it won't just be something that's just sitting there for collector's value. Yeah, Buzzwole again, art's really nice. Lycanroc art really nice. Guzzlord really nice. So all the rainbow arts are really nice here. I mean, I don't care about the Dug Trail, but like, the art's nice too. Lusamine baddie here, so yeah, really nice arts in this set. But yeah, for the set overall, really good mini set, really nice additions, really nice DLC. I think Ultra Beasts are going to be absolutely insane. Again, Celesteela is nuts. The supporter cards for the decks are insane. I think Buzzwole is going to terrorize this game. Grass decks are going to be absolutely nuts. So I think we're gonna start seeing more Charizard. I feel like we're gonna start seeing more Incineroar. I feel. And electric decks are going to be underrated at first. I feel, and they might start creeping up. And then yeah, like. This card, I'm gonna see some nutty things with this, and then Guzzlord is really insane too. So honestly, overall, again, really good mini set. Very impressed to see how my takes age, and we'll come back in a couple of weeks and see if I was cooking or not. But yeah, that was a new Extradimensional Crisis set. Tell me your thoughts in the comments down below. What you think about this set, where you think it's good or bad. What cards are you looking to pull for? Are you going to be using your hourglasses or not? Are you going to be saving? Personally, I'm just going to do my dailies, or I might do one 10-pack pull, but that might be it. I'm not going to go crazy on this set. I already used 1,000 hourglasses, sorry, 1,200 on the last set because I really want to get that Rainbow Incineroar card because Incineroar is my favorite Pokemon of all time. So yeah, but I'm going back to saving my hourglasses, so that's that. But yeah. Let me know your thoughts in the comments down below, and I will catch y'all next time. Peace.